Welcome back to the David Pakman Show.
Welcome to the bonus show. I have some stories here, a couple of which were sent to me by Ron. Ron has been an MVP in sending me bonus show stories as of late.
Absolutely. And I think one of the regular show stories today was from Ron as well.
Most excellent. Thank you, Ron. MVP. MVP for sure. Vladimir Putin has been handing out pay cuts. He has just slashed his own presidential salary and the salaries of many others. He has also cut the government workforce. And of course, he is doing this because things are still very bad in Russia at the
Now,
moment.
let me remind everybody, this salary cut is of no consequence whatsoever to Vladimir Putin, who is incredibly rich, multi-billionaire by some estimates, not by all. But I assume it affects the salaries of the others far more.
I believe it probably does, yes. But yeah, by some accounts, I guess he is the richest man in the world. I guess we just don't know because there's not really any transparency there. But that's fine. And I think it's still kind of a nice symbolic gesture, I guess, that he is doing this, but probably also somewhat necessary. And this is because they are continuing to spiral into, would you call it a recession? I guess it's not a full. Is it a recession?
I mean, the currency is crumbling. I don't know if the term recession would even apply to what the status of their economy is right now, but certainly a huge downfall economically.
Yeah, indeed. And so that's what's happening in Russia. And these sanctions are really having an effect on the country.
Oh, yeah.
I just watched the third episode of House of Cards, and this fictional Russian president, who, of course, this is, of course, supposed to be Putin to some extent.
Absolutely, yeah. That's a great episode. And by the way, I watched episode 4 of season 3 last night.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, Russia is brought into the mix, and it is really interesting to have this, I don't know, kind of fictional Vladimir Putin, and that kind of reminded me of this. But I think that I know I've said that I have no interest in visiting Russia, but if things get to the point in Russia where it just becomes super, super cheap, I think I would be far more interested in going.
I am super conflicted because I don't want to support support Russia as their government in any way whatsoever. And of course, tourism dollars, the government taxes them, blah, 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 blah. But at the same time, you would be supporting local individuals. But I am really interested in visiting Russia, and I would love to go to the towns that my ancestors are from and see what it's like. I mean, it would be such an interesting trip. St. Petersburg, I've read so much about how fascinating it is, and it would be great to go to Moscow. But for political reasons, I am conflicted. And Aeroflot, which is a Russian airline, really has very cheap flights from JFK to Moscow. I mean, it wouldn't be a hugely expensive trip even, but I do hesitate because of political reasons.
Yeah, indeed. But we will monitor the situation and see what happens here. I don't really see Russia ever being anything other than what Mitt Romney called a geopolitical enemy, I believe was the term he used. But Russia, yeah, tough times. Ferguson, I don't think we talked about the Department of Justice report on what happened in Ferguson, right? David, did we do that?
Don't think so.
Okay. Well, the Justice Department did conclude that there was routine, what's the word? Routine, not racism, but racism in practice.
Singling out of people, discrimination.
Routine discrimination going on in Ferguson by the police department, and there was a lot of info. But now we have resignations happening over racist emails that were uncovered in this federal report.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, one of these guys was an honored police officer. The second highest ranking commander is resigning, one of two to resign on Friday. Captain Rick Hank stepped down with Sergeant William Mudd. Mudd, which one? One of them was awarded the Medal of Valor. This is incredible. And the emails, I guess I can read some of the emails here. They were kind of, one of them contained a joke. Henke sent this one that said, an African-American woman in New Orleans was admitted to the hospital for a pregnancy termination. 2 weeks later, she received a check for $5,000. She phoned the hospital to ask who it was from. The hospital said, Crime Stoppers. This is the type of stuff that was being exchanged. And I mean, this kind of reminds me of the movie Crash, not the really insane Cronenberg one about people who get off on getting into car accidents, but the one where everyone's really racist. And there's a police officer who's racist and hates blacks, but when things get bad and a woman that he previously insulted and groped is under a burning car, he desperately wants to save her life. And I'm thinking to myself, is this the same situation with officers like this? If they are put in a situation where there is a black woman who is in a life or death situation and they have the ability to possibly save her or rescue her by putting themselves in harm's way, are they going to do that even though they clearly are racist and they clearly, according to the report, discriminate routinely?
Yeah, it's a good question. And we had that story. Don't you remember, Lewis, about a fire chief or something about it's a nigger family. We don't put the fire out. It was like North Carolina, South Carolina, something like that. It was maybe 5-6 months ago. So if it happens that way, it wouldn't be the first time, because we know at least of one other story like that in the U.S. Yeah, these emails are just horrible.
And these are high-paid officers who are resigning now. And I guess it is not out of the realm of possibilities for the Department of Justice to essentially dissolve and dismantle this police department and completely start over just because it is so fucked, basically. And that's what's on the table right now. So we will follow the story, but things are not looking good in Ferguson. I think it is probably in the best interest of the community that this department be dissolved and that they kind of start from the ground up.
Yeah, it's in the best interest of humanity.
Yeah, I think so. So that's what's happening in Ferguson. It's kind of depressing. I just can't even imagine what the residents of Ferguson were going through for I don't know how many years dealing with crap like that. It's got to be I don't know. It's got to make you pretty angry. The Colosseum in Rome, huge tourist attraction, of course, and two American tourists were caught carving their names into the Colosseum and then taking a selfie in front of it.
Yeah.
Now I'm going to anger some people here, but when I read this headline, I thought to myself, they've got to be from California. Sure enough, they are from California. Everything good, Dave?
Yeah, someone's trying to open my door, even though I clearly have a sign that says, do not open this door, do not knock on this door. It's quite compelling.
Now I hear some whistling, too.
Yeah.
It's amazing that this stuff only happens during the bonus show.
It is incredible, yeah.
Good thing. Anyway, I said to myself, I bet these two tourists are from California. Sure enough, they are. And 21 and 25 years old. They scratched a J and an N onto the wall, and they took a selfie. The police were notified, and they were nabbed, and they might have to pay a fine. But I was thinking to myself, there are many places where the residents, the native people, just really don't like American tourists.
Yeah.
And this just hurts. It hurts everyone so badly when we are traveling, does it not?
Yeah, this is like the stereotypical ignorant American tourist defacing historic sites and then taking a selfie. You know, I said when I went to the museum in Paris that has the Mona Lisa, which is the Louvre. And it was such insane chaos inside the room where they have the Mona Lisa. And they used to have it behind it, mounted in a way where they not want any pictures taken. And people just didn't care. And so they had to move it all around and put it behind a different type of glass now, because people just are going to take pictures, people pushing, people shoving to take selfies in front of the Mona Lisa. The Mona Lisa isn't even that big, so you can barely even identify it as the Mona Lisa in these selfies. And most of the voices that you hear are Americans who are acting in this way, and it is really embarrassing.
Anytime I have been in traveling, I always observe Americans making asses of themselves and embarrassing me, just by association. But that being said, living in Austin, there are people from all over the world on downtown and on 6th Street all the time, and I frequently observe foreigners making asses of themselves. But it's a little bit different, I think, the way I consider them to be making fools out of themselves and the way Americans do it. I observe Americans doing it overseas and in other countries. But yeah, it does seem that like wherever I go, I see someone that is just giving Americans a bad name.
Obviously, if I'm in a Spanish-speaking country, then I'm not identified as an American tourist because I just speak in Spanish with the people that are there. But when I go to other countries, then it's very often people do assume that I'm coming from the U.S. correctly. So they would have no reason to think that I'm actually originally from Argentina. I won't retell all of the anecdotes, but over the years on the show, I've told a whole bunch of anecdotes related to this. And defacing the Colosseum, it's just very, very embarrassing.
Now, I guess this part of it happened to not be an original wall, but it is considered antique anyway.
Yeah, and how did they know that? I mean, were they experts? By chance, you're right, it wasn't an original wall. Great.
Yeah, but still, this does not make it any better. And yeah, you're right. I doubt they knew that. But very unfortunate. Please stop doing this stuff. I haven't had to tell anyone that I'm Canadian yet. I think though that would be my go-to disguise, if you will.
Yeah.
It hasn't come to that, thankfully. But I might have to do that someday. I hope not. Just stop carving your names and stuff. It doesn't matter. Just take the selfie, leave it at that, please.
The David Pakman Show at davidpakman.com.